Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. We are going to start over on the laser engraver. This is just a piece of, I think it's pine. It's a block, and I am going to just see if my idea will work out. That's the reason I'm using this piece of wood. It's pretty soft, and it was just in my scrap pile. So let me take you over here to the actual laser engraver. I set up a jig of sorts. I've got a piece of wood in here. I've opened up my gratings, and that way I can make sure I have that in the right spot. So my intentions is to engrave fairly deep on a certain portion of this wood. I'm not going to go all the way the length of it, but maybe from here to here I think is about what I'm going to do. Engrave that side, then rotate it once, engrave all four sides. I just want to kind of see if I can engrave deep enough and do, I don't know, still do a shape and see what kind of, well, what kind of shape I can do. We'll go over the design. So I've got, you can see on the outer edges, I've got just, I couldn't decide what little design I wanted to do, and I thought I better start out fairly simple. So this is the design that I'm going to do. Let me bring it in a little bit so you guys can see. Like I said, pretty simple, and you can see doesn't look like I have it centered on the wood, but because of the depth of the wood that I'm using, it kind of throws things off, so you got to continuously play with it. And so one of the things that I try to do, I'm going to send it home, and then I'm going to frame it, and whenever I frame it, it's going to tell me where it's going to engrave, and I think I'm fairly on, so I'm going to send it home, close everything up, and I think I've got everything set. So, oh, I've got my engraving set at 1,000 for the speed and 80% for the power. It's pretty soft wood, so we're going to see how that burns. And I just have one pass. If I have to do another pass, then we'll do it. I'll be able to check that with this first go around. So I'm going to get that started and let you guys watch some of it. Alright, let's get started. So it says it's going to take about 30, if I remember right, 30 minutes. Yeah, 33 minutes. So this could be quite a long process to get done on all four sides. To see how deep we are. Oh, I think we're pretty deep. I think I like that. I do feel like we're off centered a little bit, but that's what we got, so that's what we're gonna do. Rotate you. Let's start. Now behave yourself. I'll bring you guys back whenever I get it out of the laser engraver, when I have all four sides done. Yep, you can see I'm off a little bit to one side, which I knew that after the first engrave, but once I did it on one side, I needed to stay consistent, so we'll just see how it turns out. After all, this is just a let's see if this will work project. I am going to put epoxy in it, and it does seem to have engraved fairly deep. Let me .76 millimeters, and that is 0.3055 on the inches. So pretty good deep engrave, I think. Now to the workbench, and we'll see about putting some epoxy in it. So I've got some black epoxy that Lathe Resin sent me. The nice thing about that is I won't have to mix color with it, but I think I am gonna add a little bit of bronze and just sprinkle it throughout. I don't know. We'll see how that works out. This is some of the Lathe Resin's mica powder. Just to add a little sparkle to it. We'll see if that comes out. So I have decided that I am going to just put some hot glue around this and mix a little bit of the epoxy and do one side at a time. It's going to take some time. I think on this epoxy it says, you know, it can be ready to be demolded in 8 to 12 hours or something like that. But it also talked about if you were going to do a second layer to wait 3 to 5 hours. So hopefully this, I mean, it still seems like it's probably going to take a couple of days to do each side. But I'd rather do it this way and not worry about the air bubbles, just in case it turns out okay, because, you know, I'm that person. Even though I'm off-centered a little bit, disappointed, even though this is just a junk scrap piece of wood and this was just a little tryout, I still want it to turn out okay. That's just how I operate. So we will get started with putting some hot glue, and I'll mix up the epoxy and pour it in. So I just got some mixed up, and I know I forgot to push record. I did this side. Well, I forgot to mix in my bronze, and I sprinkled it on top and tried to mix it and then put it in there, but I had this crazy bubbling action going on, and I pulled it out and tried to, had it in my pressure pot and tried to see if I could fix it, and I don't know, I got a hot mess going on this side, so I don't know what I'm gonna do to fix that, but let's see if we can mix this side right. So let me definitely really an experiment. So we'll see how that one goes. Oops. Should wear gloves on both hands apparently. All right, get down. Scoochy, scoochy, scoochy. Okay, so I gotta help her. She don't want to go away. Yeah? You want some attention? There you go. So I always show the good, the bad, the ugly. All right, move, move. I always show the good, the bad, and the ugly on my channel. So this was my first attempt at the pour, and tail down. What, I forgot to record that. So I had poured the epoxy and used the mica powder, or I forgot to mix the mica powder in, so I sprinkled some of the mica powder on top and tried to just kind of swirl it in, and then I put it in the pressure pot. It didn't look like this whenever it came out of the pressure pot. It looked something like that. And I had thought, oh gosh, it was all bubbled up, but you know, you had all this on here, and I was like, wow, maybe the mica powder caused some issues and made it skim over and the air could not come out. So I was like, I was trying to push it back because it was still fairly soft, and I was picked away at the bubbles and dug away at it, and I'm like, yeah, there is some hollow spots in there. Well, I then did this side. I made sure I mixed the mica powder in, put it in the pressure pot, and this is what I came out with. It's like it has a skim, like the top of the surface cured, and then the air couldn't come out. So I was like, oh my, what a mess. How can this be? I've never had this kind of problem with epoxy. And I'm thinking, okay. So then I go to this, and I didn't put it in the pressure pot. I still mix the mica in because I'm like, I got to see if it has something to do with the mica. It seemed to do okay. So the next two I left out of the pressure pot. I'm not sure what was going on with it like this, but I've got to do something about it. I'm sure I'm going to end up with voids, but I'm at least going to attempt to pour some epoxy, re-pour some epoxy in this one. I may try to, this is already hard because I immediately went to this side and then this side, and this ended up getting hard before I had a chance to cut away at it. Move your tail, girly. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to see if what I have to do, if I have to grind it back, do something with it to see if there's voids underneath these little peaks, because I know there has to be. I did cut a little piece off, and I don't know that you guys can see. It looks kind of level down there, but I do think even if I do this, I'm still going to have voids within the piece. So I'm torn about, do I turn it? Then I know I need to go ahead and fill this side. So I may leave this side, turn it, and then see if I can repair the voids. I don't know. May not work out. Trying to figure out how much effort to put into this. But I do need to do something with that business. So I will fix that. I may knock these back and see if I can do something with those. But that's going to all take some time and some work. And for just a let's try it out, this has turned into quite an ordeal. I will bring you guys back whenever I finally have something I can put on the lathe. And I don't think the turning's going to take too long. You never know when you got something like this going on. But yeah, so just kind of wanted to give you an update on what kind of a mess I got going on. These two look okay. This one not so much. This one definitely not. So yeah, I will see you guys probably in a few days on the lathe. Thanks for your help, Scrap. Your annoying help. Yeah. Wow. Okay, we're on the lathe, and this is a hot mess. It's been a little bit. I had to be away for a little bit, but I am back for a few days, so we're gonna mess around with this one. It's been maybe a month since I was able to get back in the shop, so this piece has been waiting to be seen what we can do with. Of course, this side isn't too bad looking. This side isn't too bad looking. I'm hoping this side isn't too bad, but I did do the second pour on that, so I won't know until I get this back if there's any voids in it. And I chose not to do a second pour on this one, which probably will be a big mistake, but you know, I won't know. I'm not real sure what the reaction was that caused that, but you know, putting it in the pressure pot, I don't know why it would have done that. And of course, this piece of wood, we were just playing around to see if we could do this design and turn something interesting. So, yeah, let me get at it, and we're going to spin her up. I'm going to get masked up and get to going. Oh, the smell of pine, I tell ya. Yeah. Anyway, we definitely got some pretty decent voids through here. So this side doesn't look too bad. This side has a few not real too deep. I could probably get beyond them. There is no way I'm going to get beyond these guys. And it looks like there's a few here that goes fairly deep. So now I need to think about what I want to do about this. Okay, so I thought about this a little overnight and decided to even somewhat mimic this, that I am going to take my Dremel and with a little tip and or bit and just drill in some random spots on the other design, just to kind of do something with it. See if I can just kind of make them random. And then I think I'm going to take some Milliput. And this is turquoise blue. I think that'll pair nicely with the black and the copper that I tried to mix in with it, or gold. I can't remember even which mica that I kind of mixed in with it. You don't see a whole lot of that, but I'm wondering if we'll see it whenever I get it polished up. So we're going to start out by doing that, and then to help combat the staining around here, I have some it's concrete stain, because I just happen to have concrete stain around, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, got a hold of some of this, some leftovers from somebody, and you know, it's just a dye and a stain. I'll mix it with some denatured alcohol. This is graphite, so I'm hoping that it'll be kind of that gray color. I know I won't be able to match it exactly, but I think that might be good to stain the wood. This is just a play around, just see what these different techniques and how they'll work, and then I have to decide a shape. It may be pretty simple shape. I know I just did a kind of a simple shape with the vase, but since it is a play around and I've got all these issues, I just don't know. We'll see. First, we're going to start out with trying to fix these spots, because it'll take a while for the Milliput to dry. So we'll go with that. All right, let me get started. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the color hard graphic dye. I don't know. Probably gonna mess this up. Let's see what happens down here. Whoa, that's real dark. Real dark. I don't want to lose my design. Yikes. Yikes. We better let that dry. And then I will sand that back and see what that's going to look like. Because that just may be a wee bit too dark. Alright, so while we're waiting on that to dry up a little bit to see if we're going to go any further up with that, we'll work on the Milliput. Now, Milliput is a 2-part epoxy. This just happens to be a turquoise blue. So I have seen other people use this on the wood turning channels and stuff like that, and it is made in the UK. So, you know, it is something that, you know, you can order online. But, yeah, I've only played with it a little bit. So you're going to take, it comes with your 2 parts, like this has a color. You can get it in white, so you can color it yourself. I haven't done any coloring with the white. I do have some and I want to try it eventually, but you just try to take equal amounts of each. And it doesn't take as much as you think you might need. You have to mix it for like at least 5 minutes. You want to make sure you have no marbling. So it wants to come out a solid color. That's how you know you've got it mixed up good. And it only takes about 3 to 4 hours to cure. So that's a nice thing. All right. I think it's been at least 5 minutes. All right. Let's go to poking it down in these holes. And Milliput works good for cracks, voids, and stuff like that. Quit playing with it. Stop. Okay, we'll come back in about 3 to 4 hours, and this should be rock hard. And I should know, this side doesn't look too bad, but it was still a little more than what I wanted. Okay, so it appears that it's set up nice and hard. It's been several hours. I am going to, I was trying to decide whether to try to sand it back or take a tool to it. I think I'll try to take a tool to it just so I know how it's going to react. And hopefully it doesn't just pop right back out. But the only way I'm going to know is if I try it, because I do want to get some other type of shape to it. Alright, so I've made a fine mess out of that. Lost half of my design here. Almost half of my design here. A little more, and that's all to do with where I had engraved it and not had it lined up right. I was just kind of curious at how deep it went. But that's just, you just have to be precise. And I know that. And I didn't. But this was also just to play around to see whether I could do this. This wood isn't the best to turn either. It just wants to tear out. So this is as close as I'm going to get on this. I don't know how far finished I'm going to do on this. I am going to go ahead and do a little bit of sanding just because. I don't know if I'll put any more Milliput in it. I might, but I'm going to go over with that stain that I was messing around with just out of curiosity, since this is a play around. And I don't know that I'll get it to a finished state or not. Alright, so we'll let that dry. Okay, that's dry, but I'm still getting residual off of it. So I'm going to take a paper towel, I think, and just kind of burnish it in a little bit. Well, we got some denatured alcohol. Let's see. Let's see about putting some sanding sealer on it and see what it does to it. Okay, we're going to try some copper patina on the top of that. Might have to go over it with something else though, because it looks kind of Christmassy green. Sure does not go with that blue. No, no, no. Alright, let's see. We're going to go back over it with the black. And then we're going to sand it up and see what happens. So here we are off the lathe. I didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I did a lot with it, but I didn't do a lot of finish work. I wasn't even sure. I was originally going to make this into a little vase, but then just decided, you know, it does have quite a few issues with it. and it was going to be a play around piece anyway. I mean, it's a piece of pine, and you know, it is one of those things that I did so many different things with this that it's not, I don't know, not going to be my favorite piece, that's for sure. I didn't even finish the bottom. Let me show you that. Here's up close. This is we'll start out on this side, you know, the whole disaster with the epoxy coming up. I don't think it was the black epoxy, because on this side, and I believe this side, was not put into the pressure pot, so it went down in it okay. This side and this side, I believe, is, well, I'm not positive, but this side was the side that I didn't re-pour, which it was going to be difficult to do that. I mean, I guess if I would have turned it and then tried to re-pour it, but I already knew that I had my design off from whenever I was laser engraving it. And it was from the very first engrave. I knew I was off a little bit. So, you know, I knew I would have the potential to lose some of the design, which I did. You can see that there. I don't know how well since I colored it that you guys can see where I've lost the design on almost all sides, except for, of course, the side that's all bubbled up. It has all the little holes in it. So, you know, two things that caused that was the engraving wasn't centered, and then I probably didn't have my piece super centered. This side, you can see where I sprinkled in the like copper looking, but you don't see it in too much of the other black parts. It just didn't show up, and I just don't know. I'm not sure which side is which side, if that's where I sprinkled a bunch on. I made it into a candle holder, and I'm not really excited that it's a candle holder. I don't think I like the shape quite well. Moving on to the Milliput that I put in it. That actually worked really good. All these exposed holes are not because of the Milliput coming out. Those are because I reshaped it. I should have never put the Milliput in until I got to my final stage. Then this would be where I put all the little gold or chrome marker in it. Would have been chock full of the Milliput. And I don't know, you know, because that would have been the only side that was going to have such a great amount of that in there. But it just got to the point where I was like, you know, I was running out of time, so I just didn't want to deal with doing the Milliput and letting it dry and all that stuff. So, you know, I took another option. You know, I don't actually mind that part too awful bad. I wish it was a few less holes, but having a combination, I don't know, just gives it another layer of a texture or something, you know. So all kinds of experiments. As far as the concrete stain, it worked okay. You know, the colors weren't quite what I thought they were going to be. And these are old. I know there's different dyes and stains that's really meant for woods, but this is something that I had. My husband does stain concretes and epoxies and stuff like that. And these are old colors that he can't use anymore. So I'm like, don't throw them away. Give them to me. I'll give them a go. So, you know, they worked. It definitely colored the wood. Some of the colors didn't turn out quite like I thought they would turn out. Tell you what, thank you guys for stopping by. I know I'm kind of putting things out just here and there, and you know, I'm hoping things will settle down and I will be able to get back to making regular content, but it may be after the holidays. Just busy with helping mom and dad out, and you know, just the holidays coming up are you know, going to keep me busy also with family coming in. So yeah. Again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this week's video, and any suggestions on something you want me to give a try. I'm more than happy to try it out and see if it works. As you can see, I can throw all kinds of things at even just one piece. But again, thank you guys for stopping by. We're going to throw her in the picture box. I want you guys to have a great day, and we'll see you on the flip side.